everybody, it's that time of year again. It's time for gift giving. Every year we try to show some practical gifts for the tractor lover in your life. Perhaps you're a newly lonely spouse of a tractor lover. Well, this might be a time you can get them exactly what they want or need this season. They may not even know they want it yet. So without further ado, let's get started. So what should we start with first? Let's start with something big. How about this guy right here? Now usually this would be called a wrecking bar. You would think this would be something that would be used for house destruction or any sort of construction work like that. I find as I'm getting older, I love using one of these long pry bars just to help move something a little bit. Something that maybe when I was 25 I just would have pushed or lifted or pulled. But with this I can kind of get something in there, tuck it in under, do a little bit of prying. The longer the better for this operation, the more leverage I can get. I've got a link to one of these on my Amazon store. It's not that expensive, and I tell you what, he'll never guess what it is if you wrap it like this. Okay, in a recent video we showed you some trailer equipment. Now you guys made a lot of fun of me for calling this a boomer. Okay, it's a ratcheting binder. Got it this time. For heavier equipment, heavier than a subcompact tractor, you really need to use a nice heavy chain binder so that you're above that minimum working load limit that we talked about in the other video. This one is very handy because it's got the ratcheting approach. It's not just the flip over kind that pull really hard. It's fairly expensive, but it's called the Quik binder. Now if what you have is a subcompact tractor, I would take a serious look at this. This is the CargoBuckle. Now we had several comments on our recent Truck and Trailer Tuesday video. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. But we had a few comments discussing how that these might not last a real long time. They might not fare well over the long term. Well, this guy is at least 2 years old. He's been worked really hard. The trick to keeping these things good is to keep them out of the weather. Don't leave them out on your trailer all winter or during heavy rain, snowstorms. Make sure that you kind of keep them covered. We have a little toolbox in our trailer for that that works really well. What I've done is I bought a grade 70 hook here with a little pin. I checked the working load limit on all these to make sure that they are more than the 1,167 pounds that this CargoBuckle has. I use this to hook right into my D-ring on the trailer. Then to show you how this works, you fold it up and this freely pulls out. It brings itself back in. Once you get it extended and hooked, you just crank it like this. Very, very nice. This is the fastest way we have found to fasten Johnny to the trailer. For more information on both of these, check out that recent Truck and Trailer Tuesday video. And if you haven't seen any of those episodes, they're a little bit different than the typical Tractor Time with Tim video, but I think you'll find them interesting. I featured this last year as well, and I got a lot of positive feedback. This is something you don't think of until you have a tractor. So if this is your first season with a tractor, this is a good item to put on your wish list. 3/4 inch drive socket set. Now when we say 3/4 inch drive, we mean the drive itself. This is a 3/4 inch square drive. The sockets themselves are often much, much bigger. Now you can get these sets that are very, very expensive. For our purposes, just owning a small tractor, we don't use these nearly every day, but we use them enough to need them. So what I suggest is to get the least expensive brand you can buy, even though the finish may not be perfect on them. You look at mine, the finish in there is not that great, but it's plenty good to do the job. I've got a link to one of these on my Amazon store, amazon.com/shop/tractortimewithtim. Just like almost all of the products we're going to talk about here. This item is $75 or less. Kind of fluctuates a lot. I think you'll find it very useful. Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, let's talk about greasing. You all like how I say greasing, so I'm going to say greasing. This is the lube shuttle gun that I've been featuring recently. If you haven't seen those videos, you may want to check those out as well. This is the best grease gun I've ever seen. That's extraneous. It's just there to provide some protection. This, hey look, where's the plunger? No plunger, no leak out the bottom. You can take off a tube that's half used if you want. You can easily put it back on. This is the cleanest greasing solution that I've ever seen. You can get this at lube-shuttle.us/store. Now you can get a package that has 10 tubes of grease with it. I recommend the MOS2 grease. We talk a lot about different types of grease in a recent video. We'll put a link to that in the description, and if your device supports it, in the cards up to the top right corner. Not to leave the greasing concept, this is a LockNLube. Now this one's a little bit unique because it is a metric version specifically for this gun, as well as some Milwaukee guns are made with metric threads on the ends here. You cannot order these even on the LockNLube store. They're afraid that people will accidentally confuse them. So you have to call them at LockNLube and say specifically that you want the metric version. You may have already bought a LockNLube for your existing grease gun, and that will be English threads. But we have a solution for that too. This little adapter right here, again on my Amazon store, converts from the metric threads to the English threads, and this will screw right into a regular LockNLube. Okay? So this is an English version of a LockNLube, and this adapter will screw right in there. Using the LockNLube is incredibly easy. You just grab this tab right here on the side, pull it back, slide it right on your fitting, then you turn loose, and it will not separate from the fitting. This allows you to be able to have both hands free to be able to inject your grease. As soon as you're finished, you can disconnect it really easily. Another use I find for the LockNLube is being able to attach these accessories. Accessories that we never used on the farm when I was a kid because they were never very handy to use. Well, now I've bought accessories like this needle nozzle with a grease fitting right on the end. I can attach them to the LockNLube, right? Slide that over there, and now I've got the needle fitting. I don't have to worry about it coming off or anything, nor did I have to screw it on the end of the hose. So this is a big needle fitting. You've seen us use it to grease the hard to reach fitting on the 1025R. This is a tiny needle nozzle. Now I sometimes use this to inject a little bit of grease into an area that doesn't have a grease fitting. So if you can get that tiny nozzle tucked right in there, you can inject grease. Again, we've got a grease fitting on it. You can slide it right on the LockNLube and use it just like it was native to the end of the hose. One more attachment like that. There are times when this trigger gets in the way. So what I have here is an extension hose, again with a grease fitting right on the end. Fasten that right on there, and now I've got a traditional coupler that's narrow, compact, and can fit right on a fitting, just like your normal grease gun. So I find this is helpful for one particular fitting on my backhoe of the 1025R where this won't fit. Okay, enough greasing. Let's move on. Christy, you left your cleaning supplies on my table.
That's because it's a gift idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We used this several times this summer on difficult to remove grease. It says it's a degreaser, and it really is. I'm the wrong one to be standing back here talking about how great it is because Christy always uses it.
Right, but it is great.
Let's trade places, Christy.
If your tractor lover likes to keep his tractor clean, this is what you need. For some reason, Tim seems to get grease all over the tractor, and sometimes himself. This is the only thing that I've found that takes it off easily without having to scrub and scrub and scrub and work and work and work. So the next thing I'm going to do with this stuff is see if it works on his clothes. And it's only like $5. Can't beat that. Might even fit down in a stocking. There's a link to this on our Amazon store, and I'm sure he will love it or she'll love it. So get a bottle for him.
Up here behind me is the Edge Tamer. These go on your front of your bucket. We've published several videos using this in action, both in snow in the winter, which is its prescribed use, but we've also shown it cleaning loose soil off the top of grass without destroying the grass. Really good tool, not very expensive. Now, perhaps you just got a set of Edge Tamers, or you're headed for a set of Edge Tamers soon. Remember that there's some additional devices that can go on the front of the Edge Tamer. This one helps you move your trash can. If you've got one of those big containers, it will have a bar across the front of it. This goes into the bar, and then as it picks up, this goes against the rest of the trash can, picks it right up like that, and you can carry your trash can to the street without having to roll it and without making your wife pull it for 200 or 300 yards down the street.
That's better.
This addition goes right on the front of the edge tamer. Then you just slide this pin right in there and it's fully attached. There's another attachment as well called an edge extender. And it's a straight piece that comes out here, and it's kind of a mini fork. So you can put a couple of those on. One cool part about it is you can put your edge tamers however far you want from the center. So if you want two of those close together for extra strength, that's fine. Or if you want them all the way at the end of your bucket or anywhere in between, depending on what you're needing to carry with your edge extenders. Inexpensive upgrades for your edge tamers, and I think they'd fit in a stocking. Okay, this time of year, when you're not outside working too much, is a good time to consider upgrading your fuel storage solution. We've put together several videos on how we constructed our fuel storage solution. We'll put a link to those up here as well as in the description, but I'll walk through a little of it now. This fuel pump is a hand-driven pump. It doesn't require any power except for this. Hey, we need the exercise anyway. And you don't get tired by the time it takes to fill up the small 5 or 6 gallon tank on a subcompact tractor. Another item we added a little bit later was this fuel filter to try to trap water and other debris that we might pick up, rust or things like that in the tank. And that just gives us a sense of security that we're not injecting, dirt into our fuel system. It's worked really well for us. Here we've got a swivel, and that's allowed us to prevent a kink that used to happen in the hose here. We like this fuel system because it stores quite a lot of fuel. We only have to fill it up a couple times a year, and it was inexpensive. Much better than the 5 gallon cans. I hope we've shown you some good ideas for your shopping list. We try to include some things that might not be normal holiday gifts, but that we hope would really be appreciated by your tractor lover. Now you can get these gifts at a lot of different places. We have put them on our Amazon store, amazon.com/shop/tractortimewithtim for your convenience. It's a good place to kind of go see all of these products as well as products that we've mentioned in other videos. Go check it out there. We would encourage you to do so. I hope you all have a happy holiday season, a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim. That the LockNLube really helps. I don't want to say helps with. I'm trying to say helps. I don't want to put a preposition. Preposition, folks, is not a good thing to end a sentence with.